Hey, welcome back to Mr. P. Helps with Algebra 2. This is Unit 3, Topic 2, SLT 9, which we are going to actually start graphing trig functions, and we're going to start off with a warm-up, which we did on the last video, which is identifying what the equation is based upon given graph. I know that this is a sine function because it starts at the midline. I know that this one is a cosine function because it starts at the minimum. The amplitude just means the distance from the midline to the maximum or minimum, so that's going to be distance of 2, and this one's got a midline also of 0. It looks like it has a distance of negative pi. Okay, so negative 3.14. So that's kind of unusual, but so be it. Midline in this case is 0. Midline here is also 0. The period is the distance it takes to travel one full cycle, so that's 4. Period of 4, and this one is to get to here 2 pi. All right, so the equation is always amplitude times sine of, now it says 4. Not quite sure if that's 4 degrees or 4 radians or what that's in terms of. Not sure what to do there actually. So I'm just going to say that, well, it said it's degrees, but then 360 degrees divided by 4 means it's doing a whole lot of rotations for 360 degrees. Perhaps it's supposed to be radians. So, you know what? I'm just going to skip that part. So the equation over here is your amplitude. Okay, so negative pi multiplied by, once again, this is pretty weird warm-up altogether, to tell you the truth, times sine of period is 2 pi, so finally something that's working out right, and plus the midline is there. So okay, so this is the right formula. This one, not going to finish it because I'm not sure what the units are for the 4. All right. Sorry for the confusion. Here we go. So determine the amplitude and period for each function. The amplitude is very easy. The amplitude is just the number that's in front. So the amplitude is 1. The amplitude for this one is also 1. The amplitude for this one is also 1. The amplitude for this one is 4. So remember, the amplitude is just the height of the wave. And it's always a number that's on the outside. So this one has an amplitude of 2, but it's going to start at the minimum. This one also has an amplitude of 2. Now we're going to talk period. So the period is always going to be, so in this case it's 4, which means it does 4 rotations for every 2 pi amount of time. So you can take 2 pi divided by 4. 2 and 4 can both be simplified, so that's pi over 2. So it takes pi over 2 amount of time to complete one cycle, or half of pi. For this one, so 2 pi divided by 5, which is the number right there, is 2 pi over 5. So the period is 2 pi over 5, or 2/5 pi. This one is 1x, so you know it's going to take 2 pi amount of time, because 2 pi divided by 1 is still 2 pi. This one's also 2 pi divided by 1 is also 2 pi. And I think I've done enough examples to understand. So this one's 2 pi divided by negative 4. These can cancel, so it's going to take 1/2 pi. The only thing the negative means is that it's starting at the minimum, which means instead of the maximum, or I'm sorry, it's going to go down since it's a sine. It's going to go down instead of going up. It basically determines the rotation that it's circling. It's going around the unit circle. Given the amplitude and the period of each function of the graph, write the equation. Okay, so finally, something we're getting to. So midline is 0, so the amplitude looks like it's 3. So it's 3 times sine, I know it's sine because it starts at the midline, of how many rotations does it do in 2 pi? It does 2 rotations per 2 pi amount of time, plus the midline. Midline, once again, looks to be 0. Amplitude of 4 times, this is cosine. I know it's cosine because it's starting at the maximum point. It's positive, so it's maximum point. Minimum point would have been negative amplitude. Cosine of how many rotations does it do in 2 pi amount of time? It looks like it does just 1 plus the center height. All right, number 12. So it looks like we have a midline of 0 again, an amplitude of 2. It's times sine, because it's starting at the midline, of It looks like it's only doing half a cycle in 2 pi amount of time and plus the center height. And then 13, center height is at 0. It's got a maximum of 5. Actually, it's going to be negative 5 because it starts at the minimum times cosine of, how many rotations does it do in 2 pi? It looks like it does exactly 1 plus the center height, which was 0. Okay, I think I've done enough of these to do. I'll do a couple of these as just an example. So 2 times cosine of x. So keep in mind it's got no midline, so the midline is going to be right down the middle. 2 just means that it's cosine of x, so it's going to be 2 above. So this would be 2 up here. This would be negative 2 down here. So you know it's going to start up here, positive 2. It's going to go down here, back and forth. So it's just going to go back and forth just like as you see, and then the same thing on the other side. So that pretty much applies to all the rest of them. I'm going to try to keep this video short because I know I've done a lot of examples of these already. I'll do one more, and I want to do an example of one with, I'm not sure why it's not erasing for me, one that's going to be a negative. Or I'm sorry, not a negative, a fraction. So when you have a fraction, which means it's not doing half of x, so it's only going to do half of a rotation for every 360. So first of all, it's cosine, it's 3, so I'm going to make this 3, and this is negative 3. It's going to start up here. It's not going to go every 90 degrees. It's going to be every 180. So it goes here to here, 1, 2, sorry, right here, and 1, 2 right here. So what you're noticing is it's only doing half of one full rotation. That's what this means in 360 degrees. So over here on this side, we're going to once again only going to see basically half of a rotation. All right, there we go. And I'm going to stop right there. Thanks again for watching, and please look forward to at least 1 or 2 more videos for the rest of this topic.